All right, well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dr. Kalen Hall. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Infomuta, and our mission is to combat drug resistance with machine learning and genomics. So, multi-drug resistance is not only a global health crisis, but it's also a huge financial crisis for the US healthcare system. So, every single day, 2,000 patients that are seeking care end up acquiring an infection in the hospital. These infections cause patients to stay an average of 12 days longer, which end up eating up all of the profits from hospitals when margins are already really thin, and they accumulate to $70 billion lost every single year in the US healthcare system. So, really, the problem is with current solutions. So, and with the inadequacy of current solutions. So, when we've asked clinicians what they really want out of a diagnostic, they've told us that they want it to be fast, they want it to work with all bacteria, and they want it to be really accurate. So the current standard of care is still reliant on culture-based testing. So this is not only incredibly slow, but it actually misses over half of potential pathogens that cause infections. Studies have also shown that it poorly translates into actual drug efficacy in patients. Most newer testing is PCR based, which is really fast when it comes to sepsis, but in the other indications, it's really lacking. It's also very limited when it comes to what species it works for. And also, the accuracy of PCR based testing is completely reliant on traditional markers. This is very problematic when bacteria inevitably evolve new ways to become resistant, which these markers would miss. So next generation sequencing is a promising alternative. It's very fast, it's highly sensitive, and it captures all organisms in one sample. But right now, there's no comprehensive genomics-based resistance test out there on the market. So bacteria can acquire drug resistance by mutating their DNA and acquiring a change that makes it the drug ineffective. Certain bacteria can mutate very, very fast. What this means clinically is that if a patient has a hypermutator infection, is that the drugs that should work actually become ineffective in just a matter of days. So right now there's no test for this on the market, which is just making this crisis even worse. Our preliminary results have shown that it's just with one species, hypermutator infections are accumulating to a $5.5 billion burden. So we at Infomuta have developed Resistance, which is our machine learning powered platform that is the first comprehensive genomics-based resistance test, and it's also the first predictor of hypermutator bacteria. All of this to help effective precision treatment of resistant infections in just under 24 hours. So there are three key features with resistance. So first, it's not reliant on traditional markers, which means it's the most accurate and it can detect resistance that other tests miss. It's also the first predictor of hypermutator infections, which means that we can actually predict the propensity of future acquisition of resistance for the very first time. It also works on all bacteria. So what this translates to hospitals is increased profits from insurance reimbursement, while also reducing profit, while also reducing losses uh, by decreasing federal penalties and also reducing ICU lengths of stays. So resistance works by leveraging genomics and machine learning and has three major steps that I'm going to walk you through. So first, in the R&D phase, we took large-scale data sets of bacterial genomes and we used unsupervised machine learning to extract out our proprietary database of mutational signatures. These are just highly specific fingerprint-like patterns that are found across the entire DNA of bacteria. And we've previously in the lab linked these signatures to specific resistance patterns. Then we take all of our past clinical samples and we look for the presence of these signatures in the bacterial DNA. We then correlate it with the actual drug response data with that patient, and then use all of this to train our predictive model for resistance. Lastly, in the production phase, we take newly submitted patient samples and we look for the presence or absence of these signatures in the bacterial DNA. Our resistance predictive models then translates this into clinically actionable reports. So we also have software that compiles all information into a user-friendly deliverable to clinicians that compiles all information on both future and current drug resistance status for all species in the sample. So we have a broad and robust IP portfolio protecting the technology behind resistance, including the methods of use for both predicting future and current drug resistance. We've also already signed an exclusive option agreement with preset terms with Tulane University for worldwide exclusive use of this technology. So far, my co-founder and I have dedicated over 10 years combined doing the basic research and also the proof of concept for our technology. We've already established our MVP on over 600,000 data points and have already validated our MVP on over 600 real patient samples. And in this fall, we'll be starting clinical trials in over 40 sites. So to go to market, we will initially market resistance under a CLIA certified LDT or lab developed test. And then we would market this as a B2B SaaS model to current existing next generation sequencing based companies that identify the species in the sample, but right now have limited resistance detection capabilities. So then we would be filling that gap for them. This is really advantageous because since we're software based, we're using established customer channels and we're following the CLIA certification model, which is a very expedited compared to FDA. We can get to revenue very quickly. We already have additional products in our pipeline, including a sequencing pre-processing kit, which would be required for the input to our resistance software. This would be FDA cleared and then later sold directly to hospitals for scaling. So we've already established clinical research sites at leading institutions such as the Mayo Clinic, University of Pittsburgh Medical Center, and Tulane Medical Center. And just for a snippet of our preclinical data thus far, we've already demonstrated ranging from a 92 to 100% accuracy rate in our cohorts. So with our go-to-market strategy, selling B2B SaaS to the existing sequencing-based diagnostic companies, we plan to charge $500 per test. Our three main go-to-market customers run over 100,000 tests every single year, leading to a potential $50 million in annual revenue just from these three companies alone. So later on with our kit model, when we're selling directly to hospitals, we estimate selling 10,000 kits every single year per hospital, leading to $10 million in revenue, again, per hospital. So I'm sure you can imagine how quickly this can scale with rapid adoption. So far, we've already secured $170,000 in non-dilutive funding and also closed our pre-seed round of $250,000. This has all gone towards building our MVP and preclinical testing. But we still need $2 million to get toward the launch of our first SaaS product. So we're currently have our seed round open for $2 million with 25% of it committed thus far. Our major milestones for this will be building a sustainable and scalable software infrastructure and building data secure and HIPAA compliant security infrastructure. It also will include clinical trials and getting to our benchmark accuracy rate of 98%, becoming a CLIA certified lab, and successfully launching our first B2B SaaS product. It will also lead to us becoming revenue positive in just about this time next year. So after the completion of these milestones, we plan to open up our Series A round for $10 million. This will fund our kit development and FDA studies along with FDA filing and also marketing campaigns to sell our kit product directly to hospitals. So in terms of revenue projections, by the end of 2025, we project running 4,000 tests and making $2 million in revenue, which would return your seed investment. By Q1 of 2027, we project returning our Series A investment in revenue. And by the end of 2028, we project making $95 million in annual revenue. So we project three major inflection points to trigger exit via acquisition. The first being in mid-2026, when we've achieved significant traction with our SaaS product launch with a projected valuation of $100 million. After we receive FDA clearance, which would be incredibly valuable to potential buyers with a projected valuation of $500 million. And then at the end of 2028, when we've achieved significant adoption across the US healthcare system with a projected valuation of $1.5 billion. We've already identified potential buyers such as diagnostic companies Roche and bioMérieux, and also the leading sequencing hardware manufacturer Illumina, all of which who participated in recent deals in this space ranging from $250 million to $1.8 billion. I want to stress, though, that resistance is a platform technology, and our IP already covers not only expansion to viruses and fungi, but also potential expansion into distinct markets such as drug development, animal health, and global public health that are not only all worth billions of dollars, but also could create a sustainable and long-lived impact on global health. So my co-founder Leo and I are the founding team that are dedicated bringing resistance to the clinic. We both have been driving this since the early days of research, and we're both the inventors of this technology. I myself am the co-founder and CEO. I've spent over 9 years studying DNA biology and I've become an expert during my PhD work in bacterial genetics and multi-drug resistant infections. Leo's our co-founder and CTO. He's an expert in computational biology and machine learning, and he's also developed all of our software in-house. In addition to us, we're also advised by an excellent board who together have over 150 publications in this field, over 40 years of experience treating infections, and have led over 6 medtech or biotech companies with one successful exit. And with that, thank you all so much for your time, and I'd be happy to take any questions. And again, this is Infomuta providing precision at every prediction.